ॐ ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्थाय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ यैरिमे गुरुभिः पूर्वं पदवाक्यप्रमाणतः व्याख्याताः सर्ववेदान्ताः तान् नित्यं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। ॐ श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ॐ विदिताखिलशास्त्रसुधा जलधे महितोपनिषत् कथितार्थनिधे हृदये कलये विमलं चरणं भवशङ्करदेशिकमे शरणम्। ओम समस्त ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्येभ्यो नमः, ऋषिभ्यो नमः, मुनिभ्यो नमः, गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम श्री श्रुतिमात्रे नमः, मंडूकमहर्षे नमः, गौडपादाचार्यवर्याय नमः, आद्य शंकर सद्गुरवे नमः, अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम अथ अथर्ववेदान्तर्गत माण्डूक्योपनिषद। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। ॐ इत्येतदक्षरमिदगं सर्वं तस्योपव्याख्यानं भूतं भवद्भविष्यदिति सर्वमोङ्कार एव। यच्चान्यत्रिकालातीतं तदप्योङ्कार एव। सर्वं हि एतद् ब्रह्म, अयमात्मा ब्रह्म, सोऽयमात्मा चतुष्पात्, जागरितस्थानः बहिष्प्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः, एकोनविंशतिमुखः स्थूलभुग्वैश्वानरः प्रथमः पादः, स्वप्नस्थानः अन्तःप्रज्ञः सप्ताङ्गः, एकोनविंशतिमुखः प्रविविक्तभुक्तैजसः द्वितीयः पादः। यत्र सुप्तो न कञ्चन कामं कामयते न कञ्चन स्वप्नं पश्यति तत्सुषुप्तं सुषुप्तस्थानः एकीभूतः प्रज्ञानघन एव। आनन्दमयो हि आनन्दभुक्चेतोमुखः प्राज्ञः तृतीयः पादः। एष सर्वेश्वरः एष सर्वज्ञः एषोऽन्तर्यामी एष योनिः सर्वस्य प्रभवाप्ययौ हि भूतानां। नान्तप्रज्ञं न बहिष्प्रज्ञं नोभयतप्रज्ञं न प्रज्ञानघनं न प्रज्ञं नाप्रज्ञम् अदृष्टम् अव्यवहार्यम् अग्राह्यम् अलक्षणम् अचिन्त्यम् अव्यपदेश्यम् एकात्मप्रत्ययसारं प्रपञ्चोपशमं शान्तं शिवम् अद्वैतं चतुर्थं मन्यन्ते स आत्मा स विज्ञेयः। सोऽयमात्मा अधि अक्षरम् ओङ्कारः अधिमात्रं पादामात्राः मात्राश्च पादाः अकार उकारो मकार इति। जागरितस्थानः वैश्वानरः अकारः प्रथमा मात्रा आप्तेः आदिमत्वाद्वा आप्नोति ह वै सर्वान् कामान् आदिश्च भवति य एवं यदा। स्वप्नस्थानः उकार दैजसः उकारः द्वितीया मात्रा उत्कर्षाद् उभयत्वाद्वा उत्कर्षति ह वै ज्ञानसन्ततिं समानश्च भवति न अस्य ब्रह्मवित्कुले भवति। एवं वेद सुषुप्तस्थानः प्राज्ञः मकारः तृतीया मात्रा मितेः अपितेः वा मिनोति ह वा इदगं सर्वम् अपीतिश्च भवति य एवं वेद। अमात्रः चतुर्थः अव्यवहार्यः प्रपञ्चोपशमः शिवः अद्वैतः एवम् ओङ्कारः आत्मा एव संविशत्यात्मनात्मानं य एवं वेद य एवं वेद ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ अथ अलाथ शान्त्याख्यचतुर्थप्रकरणम् ॐ वैशारद्यन्तु वै नास्ति भेदे विचरतां सदा भेदनिम्नाः पृथग्वादाः तस्मात् ते कृपणा स्मृताः अजेसाम्ये तु ये केचित् भविष्यन्ति सुनिश्चिताः ते हि लोके महाज्ञानाः तच्च लोको न गाहते. Hari Om. Salutations to the Lord, to the Guru Parampara. The highest and sublime knowledge is given to us in Upanishads. In that also in the Mandukya with Karikas is trying to guide us, help us to lift our understandings and experiences to the highest level, having reached where there is no inner and outer limitation or the otherness remains, even to bind us even a little or a trace. Only is we have to tune to that masters, tune to those mantras of Upanishads with our quietened mind, intellect made subtler. And those comprehensions and understandings come at that level. Then, when we discriminate between the life of spirituality and the samsara and find all the shortcomings and fallacies in the samsara and find the glory in being the self, then we'll tend to become one with ourself. That time is the real sadhaka and sadhana starts in us. And to such person, these Vedic mantras, the Upanishadic mantras of highest inspiration or of the highest guidance, as well as they are the ones which become such a powerful vehicles for one to reach to his convinced destined goal. Now, each of these mantras towards the end are so perfect, so sublime, so simple, yet in them only all the seeking, the sought, the sadhana, everything is mentioned. Just two shlokas, everything is conveyed. That's the glory of our Karika Kara, Sri Gaudapada Paramaguru. Vaisharadyantu Vainasti Vede Vicharatam Sada. It is such a daily happening thing in our life that in our delusion we are not even ready to recognize this. In our daily, every moment's life, this is what is happening, and yet we are not ready even to recognize this and the consequences of this. What are happening in our everyday's, every moment's life? Bhede vicharatam. We are always doing the vicharana in the Bheda. At a gross level, the Veda is the differentiations in the world on account of the names and forms and jati, dravya, ityad. At the very subtler level, the Veda is the aham idam Veda. The I and the thoughts in my mind, that's the Veda. In fact, at the highest level, the arrival of the mind out of my own pure self itself is the first Veda. If one is not arresting it at that level and sending back his mana into his own self and remaining in the Aveda sthiti, what will happen? The mind, which has now got separated from the self because of its own inherent potentiality, keeps on imagining, projecting so many forms and names. And then, after the tamasha of giving value, importance to that goes on happening, after which our life becomes havoc, not because of something happening outside, but because of the reactions that happen in ourselves. Thus, the Bhede Vicharanam, Bheda Nimna, Prutagvada, then Krupana. This is what every we are living the life. First Bheda, from the self, the mind is projected. Bheda Vicharana, in that mind, the multiple thoughts are allowed to pop up. Bheda Nimna, once those thoughts in the mind come, whether they are of some things or beings or desires, there may be some emotions, whatever they may be, we get submerged in that. That's called a Bheda Nimna. Thereafter, all our talking, all our planning, all our execution of activities, all of them are Pruthagvadaha. Once we enter into that Pruthakvada of actions and words of multiplicity, what comes to us is only the minimum of conditioned happiness, maximum of misery in the form of dejections, disappointments, dissatisfactions, etc. Each may be explained different way, but the whole feeling is what? I'm lost. I'm not happy. I'm not complete. I am missing something. That feeling is called as Kurpanata. Every day, every moment, we are living life only of Kurpanata, born out of the non-existing Bheda, but imagined and given reality and lived life like that. That's what the million times the example said. If from the non-existing snake we are getting fears and even the heart attacks and even deaths also. That suffering of a person because of that non-existing snake, even though the in reality there is only the rope is there, innocent rope, that suffering is called as Krupanata. Has he got even an iota of chance and possibility to be bitten by the snake, to be involved in that poison, to die out of that, even to become frightened about that snake? Even can he have even a little agitation in his mind because of the snake there? He cannot have, but he is having. Why? He is seeing the snake which is not there. In the same way, the Veda is impossible in this world. Yet, with our own illusion and delusion, we are trying to make the impossible Veda as appear. And that place where we succeed in imagining the Veda, that first success of achieving the Veda is the first and the eternal loss or failure also. Because the Veda imagination consequently is going to lead only to the misery, only to the dukkha. You have succeeded in imagining or creating Veda, but you have failed in being happy because in Veda there is only Krupanata. That thing, when I get understanding in my intellect, that's only by the grace of the God and Guru Parampara it will happen. By bringing in my own bosom the Veda. At least if you can accept that Veda as only as a Leela, or accept that Veda is only to serve all, that Veda won't harm me that much. But if that Veda is made so strong that the world is definitely apart from me, after that, making the world as the source of sukha, thereafter attributing the friendliness and enmity to the world, thereafter more and more people to the in the world to us are only enemies, continuously struggling with that person as enemy. Where? Nowhere else. In our own heart, where this Veda started, is nothing but sheer ignorance and Karpanatha. We are all suffering that. On the contrary, even though it is done unconsciously, even though it is done out of ignorance, when all the Veda is submerged in Nidra, there is no Kurpanata at all felt. A Kurpanata of desire, a Kurpanata of desire prompting action, a Kurpanata of expecting, waiting for that result to come, the Kurpanata of dissatisfied by seeing the result because it is not as expected, and the Kurpanata in me that again I seek something or the other. Continuously there is peacelessness, happinesslessness, joylessness. The only the feelings of the lowness, the limitations, the regrets, and the guilts. That's what is a feeling the Karika Kara trying to tell us by saying that such person is Krupana. And this Krupana Shabda started long back in the Vaitatya Prakarana itself. And the summary of all that is what? Only by being one with the self that one can transcend the Krupanata will with all its expressions. And and the opposite of it, if we have not identified with that all-pervading infinite self, apart from that, at any level in this gross subtle world, you may achieve any higher, greater positions with all the efforts. yet you continue to be Krupana. This is what should click to us. And this is not under obligation, not under compulsion. Not that we have to listen to Karikakara or Bhashyakara or anybody for that matter, that we are obliged to listen to them. No, it's a pure fact, an experienced fact by the saints. Honestly, they are putting in front of us without any emotions or sentiments. A maximum emotion they have is hopefully these listeners or the students of this Shastra understand it and make use of the understanding to help them to rise above the Kurpanata, born out of the Bheda Drushti, and enter into the infiniteness where there is no Abheda. That much little sensitivity and emotion of concern they'll have. More than that, whether we practice or not, whether we insult or respect it, whether we understand it or not, this great knowledge, the Rishi Muni Guru Parampara, they are not disturbed or touched by it. That means what? It is not for their sake. It is not for the Shastra's sake. It is not for the world's sake. It is not for the God's sake. That have to be spiritual. And in that spirituality also, the highest of discovering the Abheda Ekameva Dvayam Brahma. That day when I get convinced that Ekameva Dvayam Brahma Anubhuti is in my own interest, only that day the true, sincere, genuine, undisturbed, undistracted sadhaka will be born in us. If that conviction has not come, that in Ekameva Dvayam Brahma, the highest, greatest beneficiary is me. If that conviction doesn't come, I'll not try for it. When I don't try for it, then I'll try for something else. And the something else try is again trying for the Veda. And in that Veda, nothing but only Kripanada, because you are doing Pruthakvada and there is no Vaisharadhyam in us. वैशारद्यम तो वही नास्ति मीन वैशारद्यम नहीं है मतलब विशुद्धि नहीं है मतलब there is no happiness peace in him. The non-happiness and non-peaceness is called as ashuddhi because we want to get rid of it all the time. Nobody wants to be peaceless. Nobody wants to be miserable. Therefore, misery or peacelessness are the ashuddhis. Continuously they will have. There is no vishuddhi of peace or happiness. The moment you land yourself in the Bheda Drushti. Therefore, continuously remembering this mantra and the moment in the heart, any sort of Bheda is born, any reason, immediately submerge the Bheda in the Abheda Drushti. Sarvam kalu idam Brahma, Sarvam hi etat Brahma, Sarvam Omkaramayam, Sarvam Atmamayam, Sarvam Brahmamayam, Sarvam Bhagavanmayam, Sarvam Chinmayam. This is what should go on continuously happening for long period of time. Then only all the tendencies and possibilities of the manifestation of the Dvaita are arrested or removed or uprooted. Then only one can say that one is free from those bondages of Dvaita and can feel relaxed that now my drishti is Abheda Ekameva Dvayam Brahma. Therefore, I by any reason or many reason or no reason can become Krupana. No more I am Krupana. I am seeing Lord in you. I am seeing Lord there. I am seeing same self-aware. I am not seeing anything other. Seeing means with the drishti of the Jnanam, the Jnana drishti. And that jnana is at three levels. Ultimate level is experiential. Second level is a conviction through logic. First level is listening to all the Shastra, especially Mandukya. What I listen in Mandukya is the establishment of the Abheda Ekameva Dvayam Tattva. I heard it. Then I used my own intellect with the same logic and went on contemplating in my own self. In that, two things I discovered. One, the Bheda is impossible. Second is, even if I make that Bheda because of my own any type of murkhata or inability, whatever you call, it is leading only to Kurpanata. It's not leading to any better thing. It's not leading to any better happiness. This way, when I logically conclude, then therefore a long time is efforts are put to remove all the vasanas as well as the habitual behaviors at every level which we are carrying from so many lives in which the Dvaita alone is the basis. Habitual life of living at the base of Dvaita, we have to transcend. That is what is done on the seat of contemplation for long time, even after convincing that I am the Ekameva Bheda Atma, and in me the Bheda is neither possible nor required. Even after that, for years together, when we are on the seat of contemplation, from the root level, all the Vedas, when we willingly dissolve through variety of deep-heated contemplations, in which the support of the conviction is kept there, the support of which conviction? That I am Ekameva Advayam Brahma. With that help of that conviction, whatever the Veda Vrittis are coming, whatever the sense of othernesses are rising, in that whatever the grossness is there, subtleness is there, the Shabda Sparsha Rupra Sangandha Ityadi are there, all of them are, no, it is not true, no, it is not real, no, it's only imaginary, it's sustaining only because it is given importance, it is given only value though it is undeserving. With these type of bombarding thoughts, when from the mind all the projection of the Dvaitata is rejected, to that extent we can see the peace is being prevailed, this contentment and happiness comes to us, and we go nearer to the self. Then our expanding experience that I'm not limited to these upadhis, that starts happening to us. That is the depth in these two shlokas. Vaisharadyantu vainasti bhede vicharatam sada bhedanimna vrutagvadaha tasmate krunasu. So those disciples who committed for some spiritual sadhana and dedicated to the Guru in an ashram, after getting treated by the Guru for various purification initial stages, and when the Guru finds him qualified, at that time, after seeing the disciple qualified, when the Guru gives this sublime knowledge, not to everyone, only for chosen few, and taking the support of this sublime knowledge, which is well heard, well contemplated, well convinced, then the disciple goes into his seclusion, goes into his own aloneness, into his own vivikta sthana. There he does all this sadhana, uprooting the Veda from the root of his heart. That vision where everything is one and alone. At that level, then laughter comes to us. Wherein, how come this Dvaita was created? Dvaita was imagined. Dvaita was given value and conducted the life on the basis of Dvaita or manyness. And it was giving so much misery. We tried to sort out the miseries, problems outside, but we have never traced the source of all of them. What a stupid, foolish way I lived such a long time. All these thoughts coming at that time. What a funny life I was living. The source of all problem was inside. So to the source of all solution was inside. Instead of searching for it within, I was looking out for without. By looking without for the solution, not only have I never found solution because solution is inside, but I have added to the problem. Because every vision of mine outside to solve the thing had given me the impressions of the outer world in my heart. It went on disturbing me only. So all those past mistakes, stupidities are remembered, and the continuous laughter and sympathy towards one's own self starts coming. By the way, to that person who is near into the truth or self or reality. And in that way, when he's going towards his Ekameva Advaya himself with full conviction, the sign of that true journey is anything which is again proposing the Dvaita, he will lovingly, kindly discard it. He very lovingly, compassionately, sympathetically, he discards it, will not fight with it. He says, you are not required. You are in a delusion only. You are only imaginary. If I give a value to you, I also suffer. And there is a continuous limitation experienced, which is not called for. That's how he manages his own heart, mind to free it from any possibility of Dvaita. Then finally, the Dvaita says, इसका मतलब तुम मेरे को नहीं चाहते हो नहीं क्या थोड़ा भी नहीं चाहता हूँ क्योंकि जरूरत ही नहीं है then Dvaita says then ठीक है फिर you don't want me I'm going away go bye then you are in ekamaeva advayam sthiti you see sun moon star rivers ocean everything is continued like earlier only. Dehendriya Manobuddhi are seen, individuals are seen, all of them are seen. Like when you see the water, still you see the waves. But no wave is real, only water is real. In the same way, you can see the multiplicity, but don't accept them to be multiple or real or truly different from each other as well as different from me. That notion is gone. It's my own leela, my own play. I myself, with my own power, is temporarily appearing in so many forms for my own entertainment. That is the experience. There's nothing other than me called or the sun or the moon or star or people or friends. Nobody is there other than me in this universe. I alone am that. These all discoveries can come only when we withdraw from the gross world of Shabda Sparsha Rupa Sagandha and come to the mind level and understand that everything is in the mind, then come to the intellect level and understand that with the intellectual understanding of the Shastras, even in the mind, this world is neither required nor possible at the intellectual inquiry level. That's why only Buddhijeevis become the Buddhas. Who inquire, who contemplate, they alone can, in the deep level of inquiry contemplation, can understand the truth. Else, we only at the false level, at the mind and senses level, live the life of duality, taking it as so real. Just like it was said in yesterday's Bhagavata, ki the two, three examples given by Bhagavatakara, Lord Krishna, we added two, three examples. What was that? When you are traveling in the boat, the rivers appear to be going back. When the eyes are revolving, then the bhumi appears to be revolving. See such a powerful examples. In the same way, only in the illusion of the mind given importance that there is a duality. And that's why they give example of the Swapna and the Manoratha, then Maya. That is what we were going on studying from last more than 1 year almost, right from beginning in this Upanishad with Karikas. He was struggling to tell us, understand the examples first. The Swapna, Maya, Manoratha, then Rajju. We enter thoroughly into that and with the example, learn the ability of discriminating between the unreal and real. Yes, it is appearing as snake, my dear, but it is appearance, it is not real. It is appearing as a water, my dear, it is water but not real. It is a mirage, there is no water. It is appearing as the real experience in dream, my dear. There is no chance for such world or experiences to stay. They are not there. Yes, it is appearing as real, but it is only a jadoo of the jadugar. Yes, it is appearing as if you are reveling, but it's only a manoratha. These examples, when million times thought, then only what is said in the example is understood. Then what is meant by that saying in that example is understood. Then, therefore, this is what is also about our Jagrada Avasthas reality which we give. That time it is understood. Then that logic we apply here. Then slowly the Dvaita of the Jagrada Avastha also slowly is found to be not so real or not so important. To that extent, we will be withdrawing from the world. To that extent, we become introverted. To that extent, we reach nearer and nearer to the self. To that extent, the antakarana, mana, buddhi, indriya, deha, adi are transcended. To that extent, what is the meaning of that anubhuti of dvaita, advaita, or the anubhuti of samadhi, etc.? We start feeling it at that level. Right now, our struggle is only to understand the Upanishad mantras, not even to understand that what is said in the Upanishad mantra is meant for our own self, in our own heart. वो तो अगले स्टेज में होगा. Then fully involving only in that, no other aspect. Every day, every night, nothing but inside in my own self on that seat of contemplation. I'm just inquiring what's real, what's unreal, how come the Veda coming from, what is the validity of that. All contemplation is going on happening. When it is done, now you understand what is the meaning of the great yogis, jnanis. Retire into some place and what do they do? Not eat and sleep. They do only they struggle. And it is not caught easily. Intellectual understanding also is not caught easily. After that, the conviction is most impossible. Because you may understand intellectually, but आपको मजा दुनिया में ही आ रहा है, तो why will you go for inner spirituality? You will not. Unless that prarabdha gets exhausted, unless you upasana के द्वारा भगवत कृपा से, then we understand that world though appearing good but not so, that you won't become introverted. And before that, lot of kicks we have to receive also from the world. The world should kick us, the Lord should kick us, the Guru's knowledge to help us, and our own discrimination, all put together, alone can remove the heavy load in our heart of feeling good with the world, feeling sukha in the world. नहीं जाएगा सुख ऐसे आराम से जगत का सुख बुद्धि, व्हाट आई मीन टू से. If the sukha buddhi for the jagat doesn't go, how much or we are convinced of the self or reality, we will not go into the meditation because we go into the world only for sukha. Because अभी उसमें है. जब तक वो निकल नहीं जाएगा, that sukha buddhi in the world, तब तक we cannot become introvert. And how to do that? We understand that world is, how can it be sukha when it is jada? How can it be sukha when it is unreal? Something is going wrong somewhere. What is something wrong? It's only my imagination that there is sukha. Then sukha I'm getting and I'm desiring. Where it must be? It must be in our own self. Therefore, where is the sukha? In me. Therefore, which sukha I must seek for? That which is in me. Then how to do that? By becoming introverted. How? By devaluing the extroverted. This is how one has to talk to oneself again and again in every contemplative meditative attempts. When it is done for a long period of time, then only from the root level, from the beginning, initial level, whatever, the Dvaita Drushti is there, the Dvaita Asakti is there, the Dvaita Sukha Buddhi is there, and Dvaita Prayatna is there, that starts receding and subsiding. Then only the Anubhuti of the Advaita Atma comes. That's where the Rishis, Munis are experiencing it, and from that standpoint, they are talking to us who are so much involved in the things and beings of the world with so much of relativity and trying to eke out Sukha through them. All of that is mind's illusion. Remember that. Yesterday we spoke it in Bhagavata. The entire gross world is illusion of the mind. It is projection of mind, either of the Ishvara or me. If the mind is transcended, there is no world. Both gross and subtler. Have you not seen it in the sleep? देखो, all of us are in that only reveling, reveling, reveling. So they are telling us, come out of all that, help yourself. Even after listening all that in the class, little it touches our heart. But then it doesn't stay longer because so much of power of vasanas, so much of the power of conviction about the world, so much of a power that I am an individual, identified with the Dehadi. They are all so strongly is there. इन सबको इतना धुलाई करके निकालना है. तभी जाकर one can enter into the meaning of contemplation, meaning of meditation, meaning of experience of self. That's why we said how many times we have to study the Mandukya Upanishad to understand deeply what this Guru Parampara is telling. To understand, to get convinced. Then we start doing journey. And when we do the travel also, the support for us is only again these mantras. Only these explanation, these भाष्य. इन्हीं के द्वारा हम उस मार्ग में जा सकते हैं जब हम जाने की इच्छा दृढ़ बनाते हैं. And at a very simple words level, so simple. Vaisaradyam tu vainasti. Better you'll never have the Vishuddhi of the pure qualities in you. You'll only have the Ashuddhi of negative qualities. And because of the Vishuddhi, or you would have happy and peaceful. Now Vishuddhi is not there, Ashuddhi is only there. Then you'll never be having peace and happiness. You'll have everything, but not peace and happiness. When Bhede Vicharata. बेटा तुम भेद को इंपॉर्टेंस दोगे तो अंदर शांति सुखरूपी विशुद्धि नहीं रहेगी. क्यों? बिकॉज ऑफ द भेदता देयर विल बी इन द माइंड ओनली राग द्वेष काम क्रोध आदि विशुद्ध अशुद्धि. बिकॉज ऑफ दश अशुद्धि, दिस अशुद्धि ऑफ अशांति एंड असुख अलोन विल बी देयर. दुख, दे गो टुगेदर. एंड व्हाट इज द कॉज फॉर अशांति एंड दुख? द ऑल नेगेटिव क्वालिटीज इन मी. एंड व्हाट इज द रीजन ऑफ ऑल नेगेटिव क्वालिटीज? भेद दृष्टि. So where to attack? All the places. Remove the negative qualities from the mind by removing the Bheda Drushti. And how do you achieve that? By replacing the negative qualities with the positive qualities. The more positive qualities are involved, the more Shuddhis of Durgunas go away. To that extent, the Bheda Drushti with the world goes away. To that extent, the peace and happiness is experienced. That is called Mahajnana Sthiti. If that's not gained, Krupanaha. I am Krupana now. As an individual, separating myself from the world, as an individual, separating myself from the true self, as an individual, bound with all these upadhis as if they are mine or me. What a number of Krupanatas I am going through. And that is every moment experience. घुटने में दर्द हुआ, I suffer. Krupanata. पेट दर्द हुआ, I suffer. Kripanata. Money is lost, I suffer. Kripanata. People are not respecting or loving. Kripanata. Becoming old. Kripanata. Fear that I am getting disease. Kripanata. I may die. Kripanata. Where is the Kripanata we are not experiencing? Batao. That person said like that, Kripanata. He never understood Kripanata. He has not given my money back again, Kripanata. Are you understanding how in the Kripana Anubhuti we are going through every moment? Self-created. From all those Kripanadas, we have to come back only by the Advaita Anubhava. Many other ways are there to remove many Kripanatas, but they lead to another Kripanata. Only one thing which eliminates all Kripanatas from the root level once for all is discovering oneself to be the all pervading infinite Ekameva Advayam Brahma Atma. After discovering that my identity with that, there's no more. Like when I discover my identity with the waking mind, immediately all dreams, Kripanatas gone. There's no other way. So feel it at this very moment in this auspicious occasion of studying this Upanishad, the feeling that as soon as possible, let me establish that Ekameva Dvayam Brahmasthiti. So that I come out of all the Kripanatas. Kripanata is limitation, Kripanata is desire, Kripanata is effort, Kripanata is getting limited things, Kripanata is dissatisfied with them, Kripanata is creating the inner pressures again and again to do something or the other. All that is in us will go away if we try for the Advaita Anubhava. If not, Vaisharadyantu vai nasti bhede vicharatam sada bheda nimna vrutagvadaha tasmate karpana smrita. Having understood this, then feeling to be freed from the Kripanata Advaita, now feel to become the Advaita Ananta Tattva. To inspire that, to inspire us for that, the next mantra. This is one is to inspire us to free from the Kripanata created by Dvaita. The next loka is to inspire us to get into the Advaita Atmanubhuti, where there is Ekameva Advayam, where there is only Ananda, no Kripanata, no limitation. What is that? Ajay samye tu ekechit bhavishyanti sunishchitaha tehi loke mahajnanaha tacha lokaha nagahate. Ajay samye tu ekechit bhavishyanti sunishchitaha. Whoever they may be. Means by saying whoever they may be, he is giving blessings to everyone, and whoever is studying this, to all of them his blessings are there. So we are studying it, that means we are blessed by Karika. कारिकाकार एंड भाष्यकार have blessed us by saying एक एचित जो भी है those blessings we have to receive and use. किसी ने गिफ्ट दिया तो उसको यूज करना है ना. He gave us the blessings, we have to use them. What's blessing they gave? This guidance, this advice. Get convinced about it. गुरुओं के अनुग्रह में स्थूलताएं नहीं होते हैं. Guru never blesses the sthula objects. They don't even bless with the psychological assurances to us of some external love, some external kindness, some compassion, some sympathy. No, Vard Guru will not do all that. The only blessing of the ultimate true Guru is only in guiding us, inspiring us for the permanent. एक ही चीज बेटा सबको मिल सकता है. मुझे भी मिलेगा क्या गुरु? Why not? I'm telling you सबको. It's you are whoever they may be. Those who try, they reach out. When they reach out, the beauty is this. What is the effort and reaching thing? Ajay samye tu ekechit bhavishyanti sunishchitaha. Though become fully established in the aja samya brahma anubhava. Aja samya atma anubhava. Aja samya sarva vyapaka sat chit anubhava as my own self. Aja, unborn, unmodifying, undecaying, undying state of being. Samya, which is not having any otherness, as well as such things are not two. Samya is same all the time. Samya is one without second. Ajay Samya. Sunishchita Bhavishyana means those who have experienced it and established. Sunishchita means in the beginning, conviction, later on sadhana, through the inner deeper sadhana, when the rajas, tamas, and vasanas go away, the mind settles. In the settlement of the mind, there is a dissolution of the mind. In the dissolution of the mind, the awakening to that experience is there. It's so subtle. It's always there. It is not created. It is not imagined. It is not brought from somewhere. It's not manipulated. It is not assembled. That is eternally there. He is the real self. This pseudo self who is non existent appeared as if existing, used the upadhis to identify with, and lived a wonderful, funny life for his own misery. See, listen one. I have separated myself from my selfhood to become a jiva for my own misery. I go out of the comfort of my house of AC and all and suffer in the scorching heat in summer. खुद ही गया हूं मैं बाहर, खुद ही सफर किया. If you understand that example, in the same way, I myself have come out of my own infinite self, and as a finite jiva, what I am ultimately achieving is my own dukkha. And having become jiva, I become deha, I become a husband, wife, child. Kuch bhi bano, in that becoming, there is end result is misery only. Because the happiness we seek is not permanent. The moment happiness ends, the misery starts. Immediate they come together. Sequence में आते हैं. What I am ultimately achieving is my own dukkha by finding myself as jiva, by imagining myself as jiva. So discover. So that is why nahan dehosmi, nahan jivosmi. We were telling it from last 1 year. Let us chant it every day. Let us feel for it every day. Jagat mitya, nahan dehosmi, nahan jivosmi, aham brahmasmi, sarvam khalu idam brahma. These are the 5 things to be digested, practiced, experienced, established. तो अजय साम्ये तो ये केचित् भविष्यन्ति सुनिश्चिताः देन ते हि लोके महाज्ञानाः. They are the ones who can be claiming to themselves and can be called as the Mahajnana. They have achieved that jnana, where the Jnatru, Jnana, Jneya, Triputi also dissolved. Is it not? In the Triputi Jnanam, it's a condition. In तीनों में एक नहीं है तो ज्ञान नहीं होता. Jnatru, Jnana, Jneya. If the Jnata is absent-minded, you will not have the Jnanam of the Jneya Vastu. And if the Jnaya Vastu is not conspicuously seen, the Jnata cannot have the Jnanam of it. If the Jnata Jnaya connection is not there properly, then the Jnanam will not happen. त्रिपुटी में इसमें क्या है? Pure experience that I am conscious self. I am word also is only saying, otherwise only experience. That's why tacha lokono gahate. Such is called as Mahajnana. What is the Mahajnana means? We can say the Vritti Rahita Jnana. We can say the effortless Jnana. We can say Buddhi Rahita Jnana. Buddhi is not required. Thought is not required there. ओ ऐसा है क्या, वो अच्छा ऐसा है क्या, ऐसे कहने की जरूरत है. वो है जो है सो है. महाज्ञान. अजय साम्ये तो ये केचित् भविष्यन्ति सुनिश्चिताः ते हि लोके महाज्ञानाः. In the sense, Loke Mahajnana means they are the ones from the standpoint of the worldly people. Now he is no more a person in the world. He can't be categorized that way. He has discovered the self. But from the world standpoint, he is the only one who has really seriously made use of his intellect for the achievement of ultimate. in which intellect also dissolved and the experience came to him direct, personal. That's called Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma. I am experiencing that I am Brahma, which is one without second, which is infinite, in which there is no Bheda. That's called Mahajnana. Tacha Lokaha na gahate means what? The ordinary people cannot even imagine about that stage. Because the lokas are busy in their own loka with their own upadhis. Is it not? Even we also come in the loka when we are not seeking the eternal, in which we have to accept that even the Ishvara, Guru, Shastra, Veda also have to dissolve finally. सच वन अलोन नॉट नाउ वो फाइनल में पहले दुनिया को छोड़ना है देहेंद्रिय आदि तादात्म्य को छोड़ना है वासनाओं को साफ करना है एट द फाइनल लेवल दे अलोन कैन रीच others can even not even na gahate means what they won't even believe in it they won't even listen to that they won't even understand it they won't even get convinced about it lokah na gahate tat means tat anubhuti tasya jnanina lokah, the ordinary person, nagahate, he cannot fathom, he cannot comprehend, he cannot understand, he cannot accept, he cannot even trace out. In other words, lokah nagahate means the one who is not exposed to the Shastra under the guidance of the Guru who is seriously teaching. Those who study the Shastra independently, try to understand it, they will never be able to reach to the depths of understanding. वो क्या था ना वेदांतिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग लगता है कि हो रहा है और हो गया लेकिन होता है ये है कि होता ही नहीं दैट इज द माया दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ न गाहते अगर हो जाता तो उसके अलावा और कुछ नहीं करना चाहिए और वही पहुंचना चाहिए other than that one should not do anything and by doing that means meditation one should experience it. If somebody is not experiencing it, not meditating for it, not trying for it, मतलब क्या है जो सोचा कि हुआ तो हुआ ही नहीं दैट इज कॉल्ड न गाहते why नहीं हुआ अगेन वी आर सेइंग एवरी डे बिकॉज यू आर नॉट सरेंडर टू द गुरु गुरु को शरण नहीं हुए तो गुरु वाक्य में शरणागति कहाँ होगी शरणागति नहीं हुआ गुरु वाक्य में फिर ये बातें आप समझने का कोशिश कहाँ करोगे नहीं करोगे तो आएगा कैसे समझ That is the meaning of Loka. Loka is an ordinary person who has no faith in Guru and Shastra. He can be anybody. The ordinary person who has no faith in Guru and Shastra is equal to any greatest of the person without faith in Guru and Shastra is ordinary. He will not understand this. Because this knowledge is not a book knowledge or a knowledge which is to be read in a book or just a casual discussion. Is it not? It is to be convincingly taught by the Guru when we surrender to him. Tacho lokana gahat. For them, being a self as a upadhi, and in this particular world as a citizen, and identified with some religion, caste, creed, some gender, some position of ujjogam or job, some monetary position, some name, fame in society, they all are lokaha. They will have only this as real. How can they reach to that? Lokaha, the ordinary person, na gahate. Okay. Now in the Bhashya we saw everything. Tatcha tesham vartma tesham viditam paramartha tattvam samanya buddhihi anyaha lokaha na gahate. Here the lokaha is defined by Shankara as anyaha. Anyaha means other than the one who surrendered to Guru Shastra and experienced. Why is it so? Because he has not got the Vishesha subtle buddhi to study Shastra and contemplate. Why is it so? Because he has got Samanya buddhi. This buddhi is only in the buddhi, in the worldliness. Why he has got Samanya buddhi? Because he is moving with only the Samanya people and thoughts and books and entertainments. If he is withdrawing from Samyanya and getting contacted with the Vishesha called as Gurus, then that Samanya Buddhi becomes Vishesha Buddhi. Then that Vishesha Buddhi alone Gahate. gets convinced about it. Again, that Visheda Buddhi only after conviction. Listen carefully, the next sentence. That Vishesha Buddhi alone, after getting convinced about the truth and its glory, that Vishesha Buddhi also alone finds again the means to reach to that theory as experience. The means to reach to this theory as experience. Reach to the experience which is explained in the theory. That is again another Vishesha Buddhi. Very Sukshma Buddhi. That's what is meant in Kathopanishad. Drishyate tu agraya buddhya, Sukshmaya buddhya, Sukshma darshabhi, Sarveshu bhuteshu godaha esha atma. Na prakashate, in general, for the what is said, na prakashate is said by lokaha na gahate. But drishyate to agraya buddhya, sukshmaya sukshadarshi means ye cases bhavishyanti sunishchita and their buddhi become vishesha. Samanya buddhi sees differences. Vishesha buddhi sees one. That's what in Gita also, the three types of buddhis and sattvika buddhi is that which sees one in many. A Rajasika buddhi is that which sees many in one. And Tamasika buddhi is the one who sees only the gross things as real. Same Gita concludes also this. Buddhya visuddhaya yukta dhrityatmanam niyamya cha. When Bhagavan summarizes Bhagavad Gita, एक बार मैं तुमको बताऊंगा करके, he starts again in this only, buddhya vishuddhaya yukta. What is the vishuddha buddhi? That buddhi which is no more thinking as it was thinking earlier. That buddhi which is not thinking as per the common ordinary people, but that buddhi who started thinking as per Shastra as taught by the Guru. That's called vishuddha buddhi. That Vishuddha Buddhi only takes to the Shuddha Buddhi or Sukshma Buddhi or Ekagra Buddhi. That is called as, here by the thing, he is no more a Vishay. That's why Bhashakara said by Samanya Buddhi, they doesn't know. Therefore, we said it as Vishesha Buddhi. Samanya Buddhi people will not know it, Vishesha Buddhi people know. So, Samanya Buddhi Anyaha Loka Nagahate. Vishesha Buddhi chahiye. What is the Visheshata? Not rejecting outrightly what Guru Shastra said. Though in the beginning it is impossible to understand. So many differences I am seeing. How can you say one common denominator is permeating? To a Samanya Buddhi, it is laughable. But as you are allowing the Guru to talk and we are using your intellect to his logics, slowly the Samanya Buddhi starts to become Vishesha, then he slowly starts understanding. Ha, beta, when he says that the world is there, yet where it is only in your perception. Because if the Indriyas are not there, the world is not there. This is called Vishesha Buddhi preparation. And the entire Indriyas are there in the mana. The mana is there in the Chaitanya theory. जब इन बात को आप सुन के समझ रहे हो, you are becoming Vishesha Buddhivan. At the higher level of the Vishesha Buddhi, in Bheda only every dukkha, samsara and kripanata is there. All dukkha, samsara, kripanata is transcended only in the Abheda Atmanubhuti. If this comes, the Buddhi has become fully Vishesha. Therefore, for that, I have to withdraw from the world and become deeply contemplative in my own self. If this conviction comes, that is Vishesha Buddhi. And Vaki, if somebody is able to do, not at all valuing the world except for little Vyavahara, all the time in only in trying to seek the self within, his Buddhi is truly has become Vishesha. Special. Like a buddhi of a discoverer or inventor called a scientist, and a buddhi of a stupid fellow who goes on enjoying that which is created. Jamin आसमान का फर्क है कि नहीं? His buddhi is so samanya as only as a consumer, but the buddhi of that scientist is what? Not consumer, creator, discoverer, inventor. His buddhi is different. It's totally different angle. It is. Who is research oriented? He's a महायोगी है वो. ये बंदा भोगी है. So too, the Vishesha Buddhi person always seeks what is me, what is ultimate me, what is the meaning of Sat and Chit, what is the relation of Sat and Chit to me, how to experience it, how it looks like, what is the meaning of Bheda, where from Vedas are coming, what is the reality coming to that Veda, who is giving it to them. This is what you become Vishuddha Buddhi, Vishesha Buddhi. Then he discovers that Aja and Samya. Oh, then he is Mahajnana. Then from that experience he comes and shouts to the people, मैंने वो पता किया, मैंने वो अनुभव किया, मुझे वो पता चला. बाकी लोग कहते हैं उसको पागल, because तच्च लोकः न गाहति. An ordinary person's mind, intellect, senses work extroverted only. Paranchi kanvyatuna swayambhu tasmat parang pashyati. All loka, na antaratman. But some kashchit dhira, that dhira used there is Vishesha Buddhi. What is the Visheshta of the dhira Buddhi? Pratyagatmanam aikshat in that Upanishad. His drushti is only to see the innermost self. And in his effort of innermost self seeking, you will see the mind senses slowly start subdued, dissolved. This is called meditation. Meditation is where we're absolutely dynamic, becoming introverted extreme to reach to that self. When it is being done, the grosser things of senses, perceptions, mind, imaginations, emotions, they start dissolving. और एक जादू होता है उस समय, क्या है कि ये सब की जरूरत ही नहीं थी, ये थे भी नहीं, कहाँ से आ गए. A Ashcharya comes to us. Then answer already is given. Throughout this Mandukya Upanishad, it was only because of our own abhinivesha, avesha. That is again said in the earlier shloka and next shloka and in the Bhagavata also. 4 or 5 times in the same chapter, Bhagavan was telling again and again, Dhyayato Vishayanasya, Pumsa Samsrutihi. Yesterday only we studied. Dhyayato Bhagava Vishayan Pumsa Dhyayata Vishya. It's only I who valued and created the world. Who is I only will have to devalue the world. You can't do devalue world just like that. You have to value the self. And the creation for the value for self is given to us only by the Guru. Because of his power of his experience, his power of his conviction, his power of his love for us. And that power the Guru has for everyone. But you and I can invoke by surrendering to him. There is a need of surrender, need of listening to Guru, need to inquiring what Guru said. ये सब मिलकर साधना बनता है. Remember, spiritual sadhana is not one isolated thing of only doing japa or only doing puja or only studying books or only going to temple. No, all of that. And they are gross. After that, studying. That's also gross, little subtler. But it should not stop there. It goes to go to the listening. Listening should lead to the contemplation. In the contemplation, again, it's not a blind one thing. In that contemplation, the mithyatva of the jagat, the asatyatva of the dvaita, the non-existence of the jiva, the illusory experience of the three avasthas, in सबके ऊपर बार बार विचार, that's contemplation. Finally, the reality is the realness, the truths, the self's reality. ये सब करते तभी जाकर वो सफाई होता है अंदर से सारे संशयों का, सारे अज्ञानों का. That's what you will know it when you start becoming. Anyway, so here we conclude this shloka. 2 slokas were told. Sarva bhutatma bhutasya. See, na gahate means na avatarati means na vishayi karoti. Means what? One will not try to understand it. Even if one tries to understand, he cannot. Example is even devataha marge vimuhyanti. What is said here, devataha marge muhyanti, is said by Brahma, Jamadharmaraj to Nachiketa, even Devairatrapi Vichikitsitam Pura. By this, one more thing is hinted. Therefore, don't try to become Devata, because there also you can't understand Atma Jnana. Only as a human you can understand. Therefore, you are already human. Here you try to know the self. Don't try to do the punya to go to Swarga. Papa, punya, kuch bhi nahi, no social obligation, no samsara. All that is samsara again. What is the shloka? Sarva bhutatma bhutasya. The one has become identified with the self, which is the self of all. Sarva bhuta hitasya. Therefore, his presence itself is benevolent to the entire world. Deva marge muhyanti. Even devatas are confused about the great life he is living. Apadasya padaishinaha. because he has never left footprints behind, nor the devatas have ability to follow those footprints to reach him. Why? Because they live only life of selfishness with the bhoga through indriyas of the world. But this person is such one who transcended his individuality and others' individualities and is identified with that self which is one without second. And he is expressing in the form of only loving service to the world. Devatas, no love, no service, only their bhoga, bhoga, bhoga. Even they bless the humanity because they receive all the upasanas from us. नहीं तो वो लोग भी नहीं करेंगे. They become gussa. They trouble us. Therefore, the devatas also entity individuals. Little pure for compared to human beings because we are such a negative level. Compared to us, they are better, but they're not the best. देवताओं को भी अपने डर है, अपने लिमिटेशन है. देवाः मुह्यन्ति मार्गे विमुह्यन्ति अपदस्य पदैषिणः. In other words, those who feel themselves as godly in this world because of their riches and all that, they are muhyanti when they are experiencing this as more real, not the self. Therefore, they can't understand it. जब इतने सुख भोग आनंद मिल रहा है ना लाइक देवताओं को कि इट इज इम्पॉसिबल टू थिंक दैट समथिंग बेटर देन दिस इट इज. ये डिसाइड्स दैट आई एम, मैं खुश हूँ. जो पुण्य करके स्वर्ग में जाता है उसको जितना सुख मिलता है उसको लगता है यही खुशियां हैं. इन ह्यूमन लाइफ दैट इज नॉट सो because the sukha is ending and continuously the dukkha is troubling. Therefore, in human life, it is easy to accept that this is not the ultimate. But in Devaloka, it is not so. Oh, इतना मजा आनंद आ रहा है, इससे बढ़कर और क्या है? You know, when you have trouble with the family or the health or the mind, then only you say, यार और कुछ हो सकता है, करना चाहिए. But when you are so happy with your health, all enjoyments going on, your wife, children, husband, all are wonderful. स्वामी जी ऑलरेडी आई हैव रीच्ड ब्रह्म अनुभव, स्वर्ग में हूं मैं. You understand, this is the delusion. Where in the experience of sukha of the Indriya Manavadi, we think that that is ultimate. That is the meaning of devahana vimukhyanti, even devatas. Loko na gahati said by Karikakara. Bhashyakara is quoting from somewhere else. Not only de lokaha, even devaha also will be mukhyanti. Apadasya padayeshana. Apasya padayeshana means what? Those, the way they walk is such walking that there are no footprints behind left. Even if they were so subtle. And those pada movement is like Lord Rama. How did he do when he wanted to get rid of the people of the Ayodhya for him to enter into the Vanvasa? Didn't he say to Sumanta ji कि आप इधर चलाओ रहा तो उधर चलाओ, इधर चलाओ, इधर चलाओ, so that people would be confused to know where do we go, where we went. He did like that. The people got up and saw हर तरफ पहिए जा रहे, किस तरफ गए नहीं पता. They went to him. So too this thought, this the effort of knowing self, so difficult, so troublesome, seeking so much of त्याग, sacrifice from us. देवताओं को लगता है कि क्या फायदा होगा कि नहीं क्या पता, हमको सब छुड़वा रहे, हम तो इतने खुश थे. Like all the rich people with all comforts, luxuries, they get tempted for sadhana. They go to one or two camps. When they understand the difficulty of giving up the things, they say, मैं क्यों छोड़ू इतने खुशियां हूँ, इसलिए they never come back again. Whereas the frustrated fellow, they come to camp again because वहाँ खाना मिलता है आराम से. They are comfortable there in the worldliness. Both are seeking comforts. That is the meaning of Devaha Muhyanti. Deva include all scientists. When scientists are inquiring the world and discovering the principles and all, and they're applying those rules and principles and seeing the benefits of in the external world, they get deluded by it so much that the question never comes to them. All the laws I am discovering, but who is the one who gave the law? Who is the one who is upholding that law in the world outside? And in me, who is the one who is discovering it? ये क्वेश्चन आता नहीं उनको because they think that question is irrelevant. The thinking that this question is irrelevant is called as moha. Is it not? And they are devaha. They're so sharp, so subtle. They have discovered so many things. But when they question, who is the one who is knowing it all this in you? Even highly scientists right now slowly they are accepting the presence of something other than the stula deha. Then they all started treating the physical body from the standpoint of the minds. And very rare doctors, one or two, now started accepting even the mind which is guiding the body has something other than it to support. They are accepting with all hesitation now the presence of the conscious. Little, little. और उनको अभी हिम्मत नहीं लग रहा, उनको डर नहीं लग रहा, बिकॉज़ उनको क्या है, डर लग रहा है, हिम्मत नहीं। द मोमेंट दे एक्सेप्ट दे हैव टू बिकम फिलोसोफर एंड वेदांतीस, देन व्हाट टू डू ऑल द साइंस देन? उनको छोड़ने का मन नहीं, और जो छोड़ता है वो संत बनता है। And in Indian philosophy, all the sons, they first they become realized of the self, then they started becoming doctors. They said, व्यवहार ले लो, देह is there, देह को treat करना है, चलो ले लो आयुर्वेद। But that's not the, for us, the health is not goal. For us, health is means to reach the self. नेवर एवर द मनी इज गोल, अर्थ काम हमारे लिए गोल नहीं, धर्म भी गोल नहीं, हमारे को तो मोक्ष ही गोल है। दैट्स हिंदुइज्म। वी डोंट कॉम्प्रोमाइज इट। दीज थ्री धर्मार्थ काम, एज लॉन्ग दे आर हेल्पिंग अस टुवर्ड्स मोक्ष, दे आर सॉट। बियॉन्ड दैट व्हेन दे आर ट्रैवलिंग, दे आर ड्रॉप। एट द हायर लेवल धर्मार्थ काम तीनों को छोड़ना है, तभी मोक्ष मिलता है। इन हिंदू फिलोसफी वी आर गिवन गुड फूड नॉट फॉर भोगा, वी आर गिवन ऑल yoga sadhanas not to make body healthy so that you can indulge in the world. In yoga, pranayam, all are taught in Hinduism so that the mind and prana and body should not become an obstruction in the path of self. Goal is self only. That is what Hindu. That is what Sanatan Dharma. Anyone who is not taking Atma as the goal, even though is a great servant of the Sanatan Dharma through all prachara, but still is not Sanatan Dharma. For Sanatan Dharma, Sanatan Dharma called Atma is the goal. For that, all things are means for that goal. Don't take means as the goal and forget the real goal. That's why, by definition, anybody, even in Hinduism, not seeking the self, you are not Hindus. But they don't agree it. But our hope is what? If not this life, at least next life, they try to understand it. देखो, हिंदुइज्म सबसे महान है, एस्टैब्लिश किया, सब बाकी रिलीजन को हटा दी, तो क्या? तुमको तो मुक्ति तो नहीं होगी ना, मुक्ति विल कम ओनली व्हेन यू नो द सेल्फ। Some other religion will come to trouble you. This is the meaning of even devatas also muhyanti. Clear? Now the same thing is Shakunina Mivakashe Jale Varicharasya Padam Yatha Nadrusheta Tata Jnanavatangati. This I have to ponder little bit and pause and explain to you one or two things. Ki, this experience of self is such one. See that there's no such other thing like that somebody can show it and tell you. There no emotion can reach it that somebody can tell emotionally. Though logic can reach it, therefore nobody can tell logically. No words can explain it, therefore the word cannot be used there. That is the meaning of apadasya padaishinaha tata jnanavatangatihi. The jnanavan is such a one, that's why, because it, even the jnani cannot say kaisa hua us samay. Ye ho gaya bas. He cannot pinpointedly say. As I told you, the death, the nidra, sleep, and Atma Jnanam. Pinpointedly, kab kaise hua, you can't say it. It just happens. At the moment of surrender, in all the three cases, when you surrender Jagrat Swapna, Nidra comes to you. When you surrender Dehadadatma, Mrityu comes to you. When you surrender the total ignorance, the Atmanubhava comes. But you can't pinpoint. That's why everybody, anybody, anywhere realize the self. किसी को निद्रा में रियलाइजेशन, कोई सपने में रियलाइज हो गए, कोई जागृत अवस्था में, वो भी कोई पहाड़ पे, कोई पेड़ पे, कोई कमरे में, कोई आश्रम में। There's no देश काल आदि, वो होना था हो गया उस समय। Nobody can say it. That experience is such, that's the difficulty, no? You understand why the vastness of the literature? Because every literature is trying to understand, and itself proves, the bulkiness of literature itself proves that it is not that way comprehensible by all these things. कल को और लाखों वेद भी आ जाए, सब मिलकर भी परमात्मा को बता नहीं सकते. Yet वेद ही मार्ग है भगवान को बताने के लिए. There's no other way. That is the meaning of lokah na gahate. Jnanavatam gatihi tata jnanavatam gatihi. That's what it is. Just like when I am attached to something or being, anybody does anything, that attachment and dukkha will not go away. Somehow it has to click to me from within. The moment when it clicks and I'm free from that, I feel that bliss in me. And when people ask me, I can't explain कि ऐसा कैसा हुआ हो. Same. Attachment कैसा होता है, you can't explain. Detachment कैसा होता है, you can't explain. Okay, same thing again, it will come in Bhagavata. Today and in the next entire Ailopakyanam or Bhikshu Geetam. Super it is. This is the meaning of this shloka. Now, Avatarika. A question is raised by the Purva Paksh. It's not in Bhashyam, but it's somewhere. What is that? Ajam Samyam iti uktam. So, Ajam Samyam is said. And that is our goal. Therefore, it has become Prameya, the thing to be known. Then Tad Vishaya Nishchayavan Pramata. Tad Vishaya Nishchayavan. Because Sunishchitaha is said. So, the one who has done the Nishchaya of the Rajasamya is Pramata, the knower. Pramanam Tatavida Nishchaya Jnanam. And what is the Pramanam? The Jnanam which is giving us that Nishchaya. So therefore, the Pramana of the Jnana, the Pramata of the me who is taking the Nishchaya, and Prameya is Ajam Samyam. That means there is the Vastu Paricheda is there. Then Dvandva has come there. Then how can you say it Mahajnanatvam? This is only ordinary Jnana like other things only, no? In Vedanta, the knowing of the world is technically used, explained through these words. These four words they use. Pramata, Pramanam, Prameyam, Prama. Pramata is I, the knower. The Pramanam is the means of knowledge. The Prameya is object of knowledge. The Prama is knowledge of the object. So I, the knower, Pramata. That book is Prameya Vastu. The I is the Pramana. Then the book is there is Prama, knowledge. In these four things are there. Is it not? Same is happening with the Atma also, as you said. Ajam Samyam has become Prameya. The one who has become Nishchita is called as Pramata. And that Jnanam gives you Nishchaya, it is called as Pramana. So where Pramata, Pramana, Prameya, Vyapara ho gaya na. Then how can you call it a Mahajnana? It is like any ordinary Jnana of the book, which we explained just now. To that जो आंसर शंकर भगवान और कारिका देते ना, nobody can understand. It's very tough. मैं तो समझा नहीं, but it was very tough for me. I tried it too, but it didn't click completely, but to some extent we tried to catch. This is where the test for those who think that they know many things, this is the answer. And such answers, will be understood only when you reach to that place. All other Vedantic Jnanam can be intellectually comprehended if we listen it unbiasedly, even without knowing, going there. But there are one or two aspects. Only when you have to reach there, then you will experience it. This is one of the shloka. Answer. We'll chant it today. Ajeshvajam asankrantam dharmeshu jnanamishyate yato nakramate jnanam asangante na kirtitam. Ajeshvajam asankrantam dharmeshu jnanamishyate yato nakramate jnanam asangante na kirtitam. Interesting shloka. Ajeshu dharmeshu ajam asankrantam jnanam ishyate. Yata jnanam na kramate tena asangam kirtitam. It's a very beautiful shloka. I have to explain to it for 2-3 days. तो कल शुरू करके थोड़ा, I will not expect to tell so much, but जितना आप पकड़ सकते हो. Then we are left with 4 more shloka. With that, this whole Mandukya will be ending. Tomorrow we'll see this. 96th mantra कल सीधा देखेंगे. 94, 95 sufficient data for contemplation is given. Anybody wants clarity, refer back to the 3-4 classes which we had today, yesterday, day before. पूरा clarity आएगा. कुछ भी हमने छोड़ा नहीं, जितना हमसे हो सकता था. ठीक है, एक बार कम से कम सुन लेना उन सबको। Now we'll proceed further. Tomorrow Sarvam Srutimatu Charanarindarmanamastu. Om Ajeshwajam Asankrantam Dharmeshu Jnanamishyate Yato Nakramate Jnanam Asangante Nakirtitam Ajeshwajam Asankrantam Dharmeshu Jnanamishyate Yato Nakramate Jnanam Asangante Nakirtitam Anumatre Vaidharme Jayamane Avipashidaha Asangata Sadhanasti Kimutavaranachudehe अणुमात्रेऽपि वैधर्म्ये जायमाने विपश्चितः असङ्गता सदा नास्ति किमुतावरणच्युतिः अलब्धावरणाः सर्वे धर्माः प्रकृतिनिर्मलाः आदौ बुद्धास्तथा मुक्ताः बुध्यन्ते इति नायकाः अलब्धावरणाः सर्वे धर्माः प्रकृतिनिर्मलाः आदौ बुद्धास्तथा मुक्ताः बुध्यन्ते इति नायकाः क्रमतेन हि बुद्धस्य ज्ञानं धर्मेषु तायिनः सर्वे धर्मास्तथा ज्ञानं नैतद्बुद्धेन भाषितम् दुर्दशमति गंभीरम अजम साम्यम विशारदम बुद्ध्वा पदम अनानात्वं नमस्कुर्मो यथा बलम् ओम अजमभिजनियोगं प्रापदैश्वर्य योगात् अगति च गतिमत्तां प्रापदेकं ह्यनेकं विविध विषय धर्मग्राहि मुग्धे क्षणानां प्रणतवय विनिहन्तृ ब्रह्म यत् प्रणतवय विहन्तृ ब्रह्म यत्तन्नतोऽस्मि प्रज्ञा वैशाखवेदक्षुभितजलनिधेर्वेदनाम्नोऽन्तरस्थं भूतान्यालोक्यमग्नानि अविरतजननग्राहघोरे समुद्रे कारुण्यादुद्धधारामृतमिदम् अमरैर्दुर्लभं भूतहेतोः यस्तं पूज्याभिपूज्यं परमगुरुममुं पादपातैर्नतोऽस्मि यत्प्रज्ञालोकभासा प्रतिहति मगमत् स्वान्तमोहान्धकारः मज्जोन्मज्जच्च घोरेः असकृत् उपजनोदन्वति त्रासने मे यत्पादावाश्रितानां श्रुतिशमविनय प्राप्तिरग्राह्यमोघा तत्पादौ पावनीयौ भवभयविनुदौ सर्वभावैर्नमस्ये सर्वभावैर्नमस्ये ओम 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 ओम। Oh Lord, enough of seeking, searching, struggling, and suffering externally. Please give us the ability to seek and search and get and establish the self which is within ourselves. Enough we struggled outside, enough we got disappointed outside, enough we got frustrated outside. We don't want any more. Please make us introverted. ओम पूर्णमद पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः परम ऋषिभ्यो नमः परब्रह्मणे नमः श्रुतिमात्रे नमः तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु मंडूकमहर्षे गौडपादाचार्य वर्याय आद्य शंकरद्गुरवे अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः तत्सत् ब्रह्मार्पणमस्तु।